right, thank you once again for staying connected, and let's start the webinar, which is on Vembu BDR, which is on comprehensive backup and disaster recovery with Vembu BDR suite. And just before we proceed, I would like to let you know that all the joinees here are muted, so if you have any questions or any concerns, you can definitely email us once after the webinar, and each queries will be responded to you in the next couple of minutes or a couple of hours. Okay, and so before we begin into the product, I would like to give you an overview, like who we are, who is Vembu, and what we are doing. So about Vembu, we founded in the year 2002, and we have about 4,000 plus channel partners around the world, and we have reached more than 60,000 businesses so far, and we are a private company. And about our customers, we have 70% of our customers are from North America and 20% from Europe and other rest, that is 10% from rest of the world. And we are headquartered in Chennai, India, right? So everyone has a question here, why Vembu BDR? So the challenges, let's talk about the challenges here. So backing up a virtual and a physical environment, typically it is more expensive and it is difficult to manage nowadays. So as we all know, that requires a fundamentally different approach. So the solution what Vembu has is, it is exclusively designed for virtual and physical environments like VMware, vSphere, Microsoft HyperV, KVM, as well as Zen servers, Windows servers, Linux, as well as Mac environments, right? So the Vembu fills a purpose here to be best of breed in the technology and manageable solution with an affordable cost for both physical and the virtual machines, along with the applications that resides in the system. And we also offer an optional cloud disaster recovery, so which we will discuss in the later part of the webinar. And the next thing is recovery time objective, which is very important for every backup solution. So we offer the industry's best RTO, which is less than 15 minutes. So any backup you do, either it can be an image backup, file backup, no matter what type of backup you do, you have an option to restore your machines within less than 15 minutes. So you can do a quick virtual machine recovery of backed up machines, and then you have instant file level recovery, and you have failover and failback for VMware, and you also have an option to explore the Microsoft applications at a granular level by using our Windows Explorer. So that's one of the tools which I will discuss with you in the later part of the demo. And then we have the recovery point objective, which is which is nothing but the point in time where you will be able to restore the data. So we offer near continuous data protection here without affecting the production data centers. So you have an automated backup and replication scheduling option, and you also have this backup frequencies, which you can set it up for every 15 minutes for any job you're configuring. And then you also have you can assure that the RPO which is less than 15 minutes by scheduling the backups for every 15 minutes here. All right, and then we have backup verification. So any backup you do, mostly the image backups, when you do an image backups, so the backups, whatever you're going to do, you have to have a those backups should be recoverable. So that's the most important thing here. So we are just to let you know here, we will complete the slides. It's just a high level we have with the product. So once we complete the slides, there will be a demonstration on the product at the end of the webinar, so please stay connected. So when I was talking about the backup verification here, you need a backup. When you do a backup, it has to be recoverable. So we are providing an option where all the the backup verification will be automated on the every backup job which is getting completed on every day. So what happens is there is a boot process happens in the backend, and there will be on the physical machine where you have installed this BDR solution, and the screenshot will be captured for the backed up virtual machines, and it will be sent to the administrator via email. So you can assure that the backup which is happening on the daily basis are recoverable, which I'll definitely show you in the product demo. Right, then we have this efficient storage management, where we are providing an option where you can add different storage drives for the storage repository. So the first thing is we are using our own file system to which is effectively manages the storage repositories. So it is called as Vembu Hive file system, which is an advanced file system which we have designed, and it also defined as file systems of file systems. So through which we are supporting SAN, NAS, and DAS, and you also have an option to automatically scale up and scale out the storage devices, and we also have the inbuilt version control and error correction for the backup data which is being backed up, and it also has an inbuilt compression and deduplication, and also the encryption is enabled on the storage repositories. So whatever data is being stored on the storage repositories, so it will be encrypted, it will be compressed and deduplicated as well. Right, so that's one of the things we automatically do with our file system. And then the migration plan. So no matter whatever backups you do, either it can be a physical disk image backup, HyperV, or a VMware, you have an option to instantly migrate your machines from physical to virtual environment, virtual to virtual, or virtual to physical environment. Okay, so we have an inbuilt solution for all the migration plans. So we support an instant creation here. So whatever, as I said, if you do an image backup of VMware, HyperV, or a disk image backup of Windows machines, you will get an instant option to download the data into different formats like VMDK, VHD, raw file formats. So if you have a backed up virtual machine from the HyperV environment, you can instantly download into VMDK or VMDK flat format, and you can create a machine on a VMware environment. So you're instantly migrating from VMware to HyperV to VMware, which I'll definitely show you how exactly you can do a restore into different formats on the backup server side while I'm on the while I do the demonstration on the product. And then let's talk about the major products we have right now. So as we say, we are the one-stop solution for all your backup and disaster recovery needs. So we have a suite of product here. So starting with the VM backup to back up your VMware and HyperV environment, and then we have image backup, which backs up the the bare metal recovery for Windows, like physical Windows servers or desktops. It can also be a virtual machines, Windows virtual machines, where you can do an image level backup of it. And then we have network backup solution. So this solution, it's nothing but another client through which you will be able to back up files and folders and applications as well from the Windows as well as from the Linux environment. Okay, and then we have online backup solutions. This solution on the top three solutions, the VM backup, image backup, and network backup. For all this, you will have your own local backup server or an offsite backup server where you will be backing up the data. But when it comes to online backup, the backup data will be backing up directly to the Vembu cloud, where you will be able to back up like files and folders and also Microsoft applications from different environment like Windows, Linux, as well as Mac environment. And then we have SaaS backup solution, so through which you will be able to back up the Office 365 and Google apps. All right, and apart from the major products, we also have some add-on products here. All right, just give me one moment here. There is a question from Tony. Okay, the question here is, can the image backup restore to a drive that is smaller in size than the original drive size? Okay, so well, I would have to reply you on that, the exact information. Right, so once we have finished with the webinar, I'll drop you an email on that. I just have to have a word with the product team. I just want to give you a clear information on that, so please wait for an email from me. I'll drop you an email with the right answer. Okay? And let's talk about the add-on products here. Apart from the major products, we also have some add-on products where the first one would be the Vembu Offsite DR, so which is nothing but you can have your own replication server somewhere on-site or off-site for the local backup server. And whatever the restore features, you have it on the local server, you will get it on the Offsite DR server as well. So the data to the Offsite DR server can be traveled through the LAN as well as through WAN. Okay, and then we have Vembu Cloud DR services. So here we provide an ability to to set up a hybrid cloud environment. So it's nothing but your local backup server can be replicated either to your offsite data center, or it can replicate directly to Vembu Cloud, where you can go ahead and you can download the data anytime you need from your cloud account, from your Vembu Cloud account, and you will be paying only for the storage which you're holding it on your Vembu Cloud account. And then we have Vembu BDR 360. So this one helps you to monitor all your local BDR servers. So for example, if you have different locations where you have installed this backup server, the Vembu BDR backup server, to back up your image image backups, then in order to monitor them, monitor the backup jobs, to check the process of the backup jobs, you can definitely enable this BDR 360, and you will be able to monitor them from a centralized from a centralized web console where you have your own account for this BDR 360. And then we have Vembu Universal Explorer. So it's nothing but an agentless software. So this one helps you to restore individual items, like a granular level restore from the Microsoft Exchange, SQL, SharePoint, and Active Directory instantly. So this is a free tool which is available on our website. So whenever you do a backup for like a VM backup or an image backup of those machines where you have these applications running, like the Exchange or SQL, and if you want to do a granular level restore from those applications, then you can use this tool, the Vembu BDR, the Vembu Universal Explorer. This tool can be used through which you can point those EDB files or the master database files, and you can restore a mail level restore you can perform, or a database level restore you can perform easily, which I'll definitely give you an overview on that. And then we have, let's take a look at the architecture, the Vembu BDR Suite architecture. So this is how it's going to be. So the Vembu VM backup and image backup and network backup. So all these you need a backup server of your own, where you'll be installing this Vembu BDR backup server. So this server, for doing VM, like the backing up VMware, HyperV, and image backups, you have to install this server, the BDR server, in the local network, or a network which has a dedicated internet connection, which has a very good internet connection. So in order to have the the backup consistency and to have a better performance, we always recommend our customers for image level backups to have the backup server installed locally. Okay, and for network backup solution to backup files and applications, either you can keep the local server, the BDR server, locally, or it can be somewhere offsite, and the files and folder backups will be transferred through the internet to your BDR server. But for all image backups, there is a local server required, and all these three different backups will be connected to the same backup server. And then you have the other two products, the online backup and SaaS backup solution, through which you will be able to back up directly to the Vembu Cloud. Okay, and the next one, when you see, you have an option to do a replication of your local backup server. So this replication can either go to your offsite data center, where you just need a client agent to be installed at your offsite location, and you can enable the the offsite configuration on the local server, so the backup data from the local server will be transferred to your offsite data center. And then if you don't want that, if you choose to go like an hybrid environment where you want the local server's data to be somewhere on the cloud, you can choose the Vembu cloud, and all the data will be transferred to the Vembu cloud. And then we have something called as Vembu portal, which is nothing but a management interface where you will be able to manage your licenses, assigning licenses, and billing and invoicing. Everything can be seen and done through this Vembu portal. It's nothing but an online sign up which you would be doing, through which you have your own account, and through your account you will be assigning your licenses to all your local servers and the clients. And moving on, we have the physical or virtual. So how it has to be, the backup server has to be, so the backup server or offsite DR server, and if you want, you can deploy it on a physical machine. There are some recommendations. We recommend certain operating systems where you need to install this Vembu BDR backup server. It can be a virtual or it can be a physical environment. When it comes to physical environment, you have more features, and when it's a virtual machine, then you have some limitation in order to perform restores of the backed up images. So as it says, it depends on the size of the environment. So if it's a small business, if you don't have an opportunity, or if you don't have a capacity of purchasing or using a physical machine, then if you have a virtual machine, definitely you can use a virtual machine for the BDR backup server. All right, so the recommendation always would to use the physical machine as a BDR server. And then it's just an architecture, a picture where it shows the on-premise deployment, how it looks like actually. And here, when you see, you can back up your VMware, your image backups, and your files and servers, as well as Linux and Mac environment directly to one BDR server through the LAN that is going to be at the same location. So it is going to happen through the LAN connections. And all backups, the VM backup, image backup, it is all agentless backup. So you don't need a separate client in order to to install it on the host or on the actual on the machine. So it's just a one installation, the BDR installation you would be doing, through which you can add the host, just the host credentials for VMware, HyperV, and Windows servers, and you will be able to see the machines and the disks listed, and you can configure for the backups for all image backups for VMware and HyperV, as well as for disk images. And then we have the hybrid deployment scenario 1, how it looks like the hybrid deployment. So you will have your on-premise local backup server through which you would be doing the VMware, HyperV, as well as disk image backups, as well as you would be doing file levels and application level backups to a local server. And if you choose to go with to the cloud, you will just enable the offsite copy. You will choose Vembu cloud, so all the data will be replicated from the local server to the Vembu cloud, which you have access to it anytime, and you can restore the data. So that's the scenario 1. And then the hybrid deployment scenario 2. So this is where the offsite DR server comes into picture, the replication server, where you will be installing it somewhere at your location. So you will do a backup to a local backup server first, and if you don't choose the Vembu cloud, you can choose your own infrastructure where you can deploy this offsite DR server. There is a piece of client which you need to install, an additional client on a server at your offsite data center, and the backup data will be replicated from the local server to an offsite DR server. Okay, and then this picture represents the remote office, branch office configuration, where you can set up the Vembu BDR backup server and the offsite DR server in both remote office as well as branch office, and you can sync the data between both the locations. So from the remote location, you will be able to replicate it to your offsite DR server, which is at the different site. And as it shows, the picture shows here, you can have one multiple backup servers, the BDR servers, to be replicated to different offsite DR servers. So from site A, it can back up to replicate to site 2, and from site B, it can be replicated to site 1. So this is how you can enable the remote office and branch office configuration for the BDR backup server. And then we have this offsite remote deployment for cloud service providers. So for example, if you are a service provider where you need the backup data of the customer to be saved at your site, then you can very well do that just by installing the local server at the customer site. You can replicate all the local backup service data to your offsite DR server, and you have all the features which you have it on the local server, like when it comes to restore. So that can be easily done. And then you have cloud backup. As I told you earlier, we also provide a cloud backup solution which is dedicatedly to backup files and folders and applications from Windows, Mac and Linux environment, and the backup can be performed directly to the Vembu cloud. There is no local backup servers required. So you'll just sign up to onlinebackup.vembu.com. You get an account through which you can download different clients for your different environment, and when you configure and when you start backing up, it will back up directly to the Vembu cloud. And then we have backup server clustering. So you can easily you can scale up the backup server when you have the increase in the load. So all the requests, the backup request which comes in will be equally shared between the servers. That can easily be achieved, and this is something you can get in touch with us when you need to set up the backup server cluster, and we will be assisting you with that. Alright, so let's take a look at the product. Actually, give me one moment here. Let me share you my screen. Okay, thank you so much for staying connected. Alright, so normally whenever you're ready to go ahead and to test the BDR solution, the first thing you would be doing is you would have to download the BDR backup server from our website. When you go to download, you will be able to get the installer which is available on our website for the Windows environment. And if you need an installer for BDR installer for Linux, you can just email us, where we will be sending you the installer through email. If it's a Linux environment, definitely you can give it a try. And once it's been downloaded and installed at the location where you have the VMware HyperV hosts running and the disk image backups, whenever you have the requirement, you will install it at the local location. So once it's been downloaded and installed, it will be available here on your machine, and you can log into the web console just by going to localhost 6060, or if you want to access the web console from a different machine, you can just enter the machine's host name or the IP address with the port 6060, and you should be able to access the web console. And when you're ready to configure the backups for VMware HyperV, let's take a look at the VMware, how you can configure the backups. So just go to backup. So this BDR server, the Vembu BDR server, I have installed it on a 2012 R2, and it's a physical machine. Okay, so I have installed it there, and I have configured a couple of backup jobs for VMware HyperV as well as for Windows server. And whenever you are ready to configure the backups, just go to backup, click on VMware vSphere, and the first thing, you just need to add the host, enter the VMware host credentials, the username and password, and the IP address. So once it's been added and saved, you will be able to see the host which is listed here. And when you click on backup, you will be able to see all the virtual machines available on that particular host. So what it happens is, whenever you add a host here, either it can be a VMware, Microsoft Hyper-V, or a Windows. So once it's been added, you will be able to see an Vembu integration services which is being pushed to the host, so through which we are able to list all the virtual machines available on the host. So either you can choose the entire host, just a couple of machines. If you want to group them up, you can group them up, and you can proceed further. You also have an option to exclude or include the disks, whichever you want. If you want just the system partition to be backed up, you can choose that, or if you want to select a type of disk to be excluded, you can choose and you can exclude the disk from the backup job. That can be performed. And then you have the application aware processing. So as I said, if you have a virtual machine or a physical machine where you have this applications, the Microsoft applications running, you can very well enable this application aware process, through which this backup solution will ensure before it takes the snapshot, it will ensure the application is consistent. So only when it's consistent, it will take the snapshot and it will process the backup data to be backed up without affecting the production, or without affecting the application which is currently running on the virtual machine or the physical machine. And you can also truncate the logs. Once after the backup is successful, the logs will get truncated. So that's one of the advanced feature we have when it comes to the consistency of the backups for the applications running on the virtual or the physical machine. And then you have the scheduling part, like how frequent you want to run the backup job. So here, as I was telling you like earlier on the demo, it's like you can start every 15 minutes. So you can configure the backups for every 15 minutes, and you also have option to run hourly, and you also have daily. You can configure the backup, or if you want, you can set up a weekly backup. And then you have an option to enable the full backup, just in case if you have any requirement, you can enable the full backup. You can proceed further, and the next screen would be like to enable the retention. So the retention here is nothing but like whenever you configure a backup, like for every 1 hour. So our solution, it is actually what it will do is the first backup will be a full backup, and afterwards it will be only incrementals. So only the changed blocks will be backing up. So if you set up like every 1 hour backup, you proceed next. And if you want to enable the retention, when you enable it, here you have an option to reduce those recovery points. Like for example, if it's every 1 hour, in one day there will be like 24 incrementals, like 24 recovery points. So when days goes on, these recovery points will increase. So in order to merge them, and in order to have a in order to get it merged and have a smaller recovery points for you, you can choose, like in the next screen, you can choose to set up like keep as 1 or keep it 2 daily merge points. So what it will do is those 24 incrementals will be merged into 2 recovery points. So it will be merged into 2. So when you need an access, you can go ahead and you can restore the by selecting that particular timestamp, and you will have the entire data available, the 24 hours data available in those 2 timestamps. So that can be easily done. So in this case, you're actually reducing those recovery points and merging data into one single recovery point. And if not, you can also have an option like advanced retention, where it's nothing but every hour, if you're doing a backup, you can merge the every hour backup daily. So it will be merged into one recovery point. And if you have the daily merge points, you can merge it weekly. So those daily 7 merges, daily recovery points will be merged into one at the particular day on a week. And if you would like, you can also enable this monthly, where all those weekly merges will be merged into monthly. So when days goes on, it will be like merging in, and you will have a very less count of recovery points, but all the data will be available in a specific recovery point, like every month, if it's the daily, weekly, and monthly it's been selected. And then you also have this repository, selection of repository, where you can choose which drive you want to have the backup data to be stored. So based on your selection, you can update it, and you can store the backup data onto the selected drives. And if you have a network drive like a SAN or a NAS, yes, definitely you will be able to back it up to those SAN or NAS drive just by going to management, settings, and management and storage management. You will be able to add the network drive just by clicking on add network drive. You can add it, and once it's been added, it will be available under the storage management, which you can definitely use it for backing up the data. So that's another thing. And we saw the configuration of VMware. So the configuration for HyperV is similar to what we saw it on the VMware. Just by clicking on Microsoft HyperV, first you need to add the host. So once it's been added, it's again going to be the same. It will be listed for you, and when you click on backup, all the the virtual machines running on the host will be available for you, and you can configure the backups. And the application aware processing is available for the HyperV virtual machines as well. And then we have this Microsoft Windows. It's nothing but the backing up the workstations and the physical or the virtual Windows servers. So whenever you have a plan to back them up, like the Windows physical or virtual workstations or servers, you can very well do that just by selecting backup Microsoft Windows. You add the host credentials, is nothing but the workstation or the server, the physical Windows server's credentials. Once it's been added, it will be available for you, and when you click on backup, the disks which you have on that particular server or on the workstation will be listed for you, which you can very well choose it, and you can configure for the backup. Right, so you also have this application aware processing, which you can enable it for the physical server as well. All right, so that's pretty much about the configuration of VMware Hyper-V and disk image backup. So in case if you have any requirements of backing up like files and folders from Linux or from Mac or from Windows servers, just if you want to do a file or folder level restore, or just a specific applications you want to back up from the Windows servers, you can use a client which is available anytime. Here, when you go to your backup server, when you click on this button, it will take you to another page where you can see different clients available for you. So this client here, it's called as Vembu Network Backup Client. So this client is something, a client agent through which you will be able to back up files, applications from the file server, from Linux, from Mac, and from Windows. So these are the supported operating systems we have. So a supported operating system through where you can install this client agent, and this client agent will, again, you will point it to the same server. So the backup server will be the same, so you'll point it out to this particular server and you will be able to do a file level backups of that. All right, so just a moment here. Okay, so yeah, I will talk about the pricing here, Tony, and also on the centralized management here, to manage clients, like you will not be able to manage their backup jobs, but instead what you can do is you will be able to see and manage their reports. Only we have a centralized management reporting tool where all your local backup servers information will be reported, and you will be able to see what's going on with the different servers, but you will not be able to go ahead and do any configuration from the centralized management console. Okay, so I'm sorry, let me finish this demo here before I answer you those questions. So as I was talking about, like backing up Windows machines, like Windows servers, definitely you can workstations or servers, you can do it from the same console itself without an agent. And then we have replication, which is for a VMware alone. We have a VM replication, which you can very well do it if you have a multiple VMware hosts available on the same network, and if you need a high availability of certain VMs, just in case if something happens to those virtual machines, if you would like to do a failover, definitely you can schedule a VMware replication job where you can choose a certain critical virtual machines, and you can replicate it to a host which is available on the network. So those machines will be it will be in high availability always on the target host, and you can do a failover and failback anytime you like. So that's another thing you can do with the BDR solution. And finally, let's take a quick look at the recovery features. What are the recovery features we have? So when you go to recovery, you will be able to see different recovery options here. So the first one, here we can see the different jobs connected first. So when you see the plugin, you have VMware, you have Hyper-V job, you also have a file backup job connected to the same server, and you also have an image backup from Windows machine here. So let's quickly take a look at the restore features, what we got here on the VMware environment. So when you click on restore for a VMware backup job, you will see different restore features here. So we have this quick VM recovery where you will be able to do a quick VM recovery, but I think the topics which I would like to cover here is managing disk image backups from BDR server UI, which we have already seen, where you can configure the Windows backups directly from the backup server itself. And then we have instant file level recovery. So we'll take a look at the instant file level recovery, as well as the auto authorization feature here, and seed load backup data to offsite. So first, as I was talking about the quick VM recovery, it's nothing but where you can perform an instant boot of the backed up virtual machine on the backup server itself. So you can choose this quick VM recovery for any backup you have performed, and you can do a restore instantly. So you have to choose the timestamp. So here there's only one virtual machine configured for the backup job. Click next, and here you will have to choose the software where you want to do a quick VM recovery. So if I choose HyperV, I have to choose the RAM, and when I click on next and restore now, what it will do is, as I'm using this BDR solution on a Windows 2012 R2 machine, I have the HyperV role enabled on it. So when I open up the HyperV manager, I should be able to see a machine which is getting created instantly, and it's been booted up already. So it has been started, which you can confirm it by seeing the machine's time and the the backup job. So it's like once it will take a minute or two. So once it's been configured, once it's booted up, you can get connected, and if you want, you can provide access to the user, and the user can start working on the machine, and whatever changes is going to do, all those changes will be saved. So this is one of the the quick VM recovery you can do, like the recovery feature. We have it on the BDR for all the image backups you do. And if it's a VMware backed up machine, if you would like to do a restore, if you have like multiple ESXi hosts on the network, and if you want to restore a machine from one host to another host, you can also do that just by going through the same steps, clicking on a quick VM recovery, where it will ask you to choose the option as VMware, and once you choose that, and once you enter the credentials for the VMware by choosing here as a VMware, you just need to provide the credentials for the target host. So once it's been added, you will be able to go ahead and download. You will be able to see that the machine is getting created instantly on the target host, and once it's been restored, you can choose this option like power on automatically, so the machine will be turned on automatically on the target host, and the user can start accessing the machine instantly. So that's one of the quick restore you can perform. And you also have an option to do a file level recovery on of the backed up virtual machine. So just a moment here. So you don't have to restore the entire data. If you would like to restore just a couple of files and folders from a backed up virtual machine. So the only thing you need to do is you will choose this file level recovery, proceed next, and choose the timestamp, and you choose the machine, and you will be able to explore the disks and the drives available on that particular machine, and you will be able to see the files and folders here. So this is one of the advanced feature which we have added in our latest release. So you will see all the files here itself. So you will choose the specific file which you want to restore, or the folder, give a restore location, and if you want to enable the compression and encryption, very well you can do that. You can enable this compression and encryption, you can provide a password, and you can proceed restoring the data. So specific file and folder is restored from the complete image. So that's one of the the advanced option we have. And apart from that, you also have a couple more restore features where you can do a live recovery to an ESXi host. Also, you have an option to download the data. So as I was talking about the migration plan, so if you have any plan to migrate from a VMware to HyperV environment, or a HyperV to VMware, or a physical to virtual environment, definitely you can do that. So you just need to choose the download options. This download option is available for you for all the backups, for HyperV, VMware, and for disk image backup. You get this download option which you can choose the timestamp from which you want to download the data, choose the machine. So there is only one machine here. If there are multiple machines, it will be listed for you here itself. Click next, provide a restore location. So here you will see an option to download the data. So you have VHT, VHDX, VMDK, flat VMDK, and raw format. So the machine which I have backed up, this particular job which I have selected to restore, is actually a VMware job, but I have an option to download the data into VHD and VHDX format. So by downloading as a VHD or VHDX, I will be able to migrate the machine from the VMware to HyperV environment instantly. So that's the instant migration plan you have. It's vice versa. So if it's a VMware machine, you can do it HyperV. If it's a HyperV machine, you can create machines by downloading the data into a VMware environment. So it's vice versa, which you can perform at any time from the backup server recovery option we have. So all those features we have is available on the backup server itself. And apart from that, we would like to tell you that if you need an additional copy of this local backup server, so this is a local backup server where all the backup is happening, and if you need an additional copy of it, you will go to management, offsite copy management. Here we have an option to do an offsite copy management. So as I was talking about the hybrid cloud environment, you have like two options. If you choose offsite copy management to enable, either you can go choose to Vembu cloud, so the backup data will be replicated directly to the Vembu cloud. Or if you choose your own data center, you will install a particular there is a client agent which you have to install at your offsite location, where you can see this client agent available for you. So this is the client agent which you will install it at your offsite location, and you will enter those credentials. So when you choose this, it will ask you to enter the credentials like the host name. So once you enter and save the replication, all the data from the local server will be replicated to your offsite DR server. And when it comes to recovery, whatever restore features you have it here on the local server, you will get it on the offsite DR server as well. All right, and also we are providing a Offsite Seed where you can seed the backup data from your local backup server to your offsite DR server on an external drive. So if that can be done as well. And apart from that, we have something called as auto authorization, where you can enable this, and when you enable this, it will help you to generate a key. So whenever you are installing a client agent on a different location, and if that client has to be connected, that client needs a registration key, which you have to provide it from this particular console. And once you provide the registration key, the client from different workstations or from different servers which are trying to connect it to the backup server will be connected. So that's something which you can do. And also we have the encryption settings, where you can set up a global password for the entire backup server. So once you set it up, whenever you perform a restore from the backup server, you definitely need a password to decrypt it. So that's another thing. And when I was talking about the image integrity report, like the verification report, like we have this under reports and image integrity report, where you will be able to see a boot image which has been captured. So what it has done here is there is a backup job, a Windows image backup job, which has been configured here. So when you see the plugin, you can see it is a physical image backup job which has happened. And when the job is completed, it has done a boot on the backend using the HyperV manager through the BDR server. It has done a boot in the backend, and it has captured the boot screen, and it has been taken a snapshot of it. So what it means is it is not only for one backup job. So any number of backup jobs you do, if you have if you're doing an image backup, and for every incremental for the day it happens, it will do a boot on the backend. It will capture the boot screen, it will send it to the administrator, and if there is any error, you will be able to see the error for that particular incremental. So if you see an error, you can get back to your backup server, you can rerun the backup job just to ensure that the backup job is getting successful. So that can easily be done, and those settings can be managed here to send the email reports by going into settings and email settings. We have the email setup here, which you can enable it, and you can use email addresses here to send like different reports. So you also have something called as image integrity report. If you check that, and if you provide the integrity option to be checked, you will definitely receive an email for every the integrity check which is happening on the backend for all the image backups. All right, so that's one of the things which I would have to cover. And when it comes to pricing and trial, like here with the Vembu BDR solution for for direct customers, we have the pricing listed here on our website itself for all VM backups like VMware environment or a HyperV environment. We charge it per socket. Like you need a client, a license for the host which you're backing up. So if you have a host from where you're backing up a couple of virtual machines, and if it has a 2 socket or if 2 sockets are there, you have to purchase 2 licenses, which is for VMware it is $360 per CPU socket per annum, okay, for doing a local backups. And in case if you would like to replicate it, like if you have your own offsite DR server which you have installed it somewhere offsite location, and if you want to replicate your local server's data to an offsite location, then you have to purchase an additional license for that host which you're backing up locally. So if it's backing up locally, if it has 2 sockets, then you have to purchase $360 license to, and also you have to purchase $90 license to backup directly locally, as well as to replicate it offsite. And if you choose to go with the BDR, that is the Vembu Cloud, so if you want to replicate your local server to Vembu Cloud, then there is no other license required, but you will be paying only for the storage, which is as low as 5 cents, which is the maximum it will go to like 8 cents per GB per month. Okay, but for the licenses, it is a subscription based license which is per annum, $360 per CPU socket for VMware. And when you see HyperV, it is $240 for HyperV, and it will be, if you would like to replicate to your own server, it will be again like $60 additional license which you need to purchase. And if you have a workstation or a backup if you want to do an image backup for workstation, then for the server it will be $180 per annum license you required. And if it's a workstation and if you are doing an image backup, then there is no license required for that. So you can back up unlimited workstations as an image or as a file. There is no license required. It is going to be free. So we are charging the image backup license only if it's a server operating system. You need an $180 license per annum. Okay, and apart from that, there are a couple more where if you're doing only file level backups by using the Vembu network backup client from a server, then there is a $60 required for that particular server from where you're doing the file level backups. And if it's a specific application level backup you're doing from the network backup client, then it will be $150 license which you would have to purchase. Okay, so here when it comes to discounts, when you see for VMware and HyperV, we are actually providing a 50% flat discount for the customers who are having who has a requirement or who has a sockets up to 6. So up to 6 sockets, you get a flat 50% discount. And if you are a service provider or a reseller who would like to sign up with us, then there is some additional discounts and benefits which is available here under our website. Under partners, you can go to service provider or reseller and you can see more benefits and discounts which we are providing for our resellers and service providers who are really interested. And apart from that, when you see under the products, you also have some free tools available here. So as I was talking about, like we have this Vembu Universal Explorer which is available for you in order to explore the files, individual files from the Exchange, SQL and Active Directory and SharePoint by just downloading and installing this Universal Explorer. You can perform the granular level restore. Okay, so I would thank you all for just staying connected here for so long. And and in case if you have any questions, so I have some questions here. I'll definitely drop you an email once I have the right information to be provided. I will go ahead and I will share you the details with you. And if you have any more questions, just post it here, or we can also you can also go ahead and you can anytime you can drop an email to Vembu-sales@vembu.com, and we will be glad to help you with that. And there is a 24/7 support available and a 30 days free trial for each and every installation you do for the BDR solution. You will get a free 30-day trial. So anytime you need like to test it, just go ahead and download it and try the product. You will get a 24/7 technical support through phone, email, as well as chat. And for any questions, you can reach us at Vembu-sales@vembu.com. And as I said, I will go ahead and I'll share you the information, the questions which has been raised. I'll share you the answers. And thanks once again for joining us on the webinar, and we'll look forward for you to go ahead and test our product. Thank you once again, and you all have a wonderful day. Goodbye.